Salve galera, aqui é a Semayat Oliveira e esse é o segundo vídeo que eu gostaria de compartilhar com vocês. Estou passando uma temporada em Nova York, que já está acabando, estou registrando algumas histórias aqui e gostaria muito de dividir com vocês as pessoas que eu tenho encontrado, os diálogos que eu tenho travado por aqui. Essa é a ideia. Então aqui na minha página do Facebook você consegue encontrar os vídeos. Ainda não tem uma periodicidade super certinha, mas tende a ser daqui pra frente um pouco mais recorrente, porque já tenho, meu tempo tá acabando aqui. E no site do Nós Mulheres da Periferia também tem uma matéria. Sempre que sair um vídeo aqui, tem uma matéria lá falando um pouco mais sobre o assunto, ok? www.nosmulheresdaperiferia.com.br. Já já eu vou abrir um canal no YouTube para que a gente conseguir reunir tudo e para vocês também possam se inscrever, beleza? Hoje eu compartilho com vocês a história de Ola Ronke. É uma mulher negra, norte-americana, moradora do Brooklyn, que há 2 anos criou um projeto chamado The Free Black Woman Library. É uma biblioteca que hoje tem um acervo de mais ou menos 700 livros escritos por mulheres negras, né? Ela dividiu comigo que 80% das pessoas que frequentam a livraria são mulheres negras. 20% são de homens negros e 10% pessoas de outras etnias. Nós continuamos sendo as principais interessadas sobre as nossas narrativas, já que ler um texto e um livro de uma mulher negra força a maioria da população a sair dos seus espaços de conforto e de privilégios. Bom, espero que vocês gostem da entrevista, espero que agregue conteúdo para vocês. Não deixe de visitar o site do Nós Mulheres da Periferia para ler a matéria também, www.nosmulheresdaperiferia.com.br, e continue acompanhando aqui que já tem mais vídeo. Beleza? O que você achou disso?
Achei legal, mas vai ser produção, ação.
Well, I created the library for a couple of different reasons. One of them being that I love to read and I love books. And I thought it would be nice to create a new way for us to interact with books, for me to connect with other people around books, and to use books as a way to bring people together, to create community. So that was the first thing. So I sent out an email and I posted on social media and I started getting books in the mail. And within about 2 months, I had 100 books. So then I went from having 100 books to 200 books, you know, all free. None of them were paid for, just kind people all over the country who really believed in the project. And then it went up to 300. So now I have about 700 books. And the way it works is the library appears in a different location every month. If you want to take a book out of the library, that means that you will bring one, right? So it's a trading library. In addition to the library being mobile, traveling to different spaces, it's the way it works is through trade. So you bring a book and you get to take a book. And as long as the book is written by a black woman, you are free to take whatever book you want. So it's a 1-to-1 ratio of the fact that you have all these amazing black women authors that are out there. But when it comes to the world of literature and the world of what's considered excellence in literary ideas, black women are not always the focus. So I wanted to do something that focused on black women writers and kind of celebrated the brilliance and the creativity that black women bring through writing. And just to kind of get people thinking differently about what it means to be, what a good book is. You know, it's not always like Mark Twain or Shakespeare or, you know, even James Baldwin, who is amazing, who I love. You know, when it comes to people like Toni Morrison or Alice Walker or Maya Angelou or Audre Lorde, you know, Toni K. Bambara, like these different women, they're bringing the same amount of brilliance, but their work is not held in the same regard. You know, a lot of times I meet people who are full grown adults, high school graduates, college graduates, who haven't read books written by black women. And these are people who would be considered educated, who would be considered worldly, but they haven't even heard of some of these women. I don't know if this is like this all over the world, but in this country, when it comes to like English books, like classic authors and like what's considered to be the top of what books are, you know, you don't see black women's names on that list. And it forces people to think like, why is that? Who decides what's considered excellence in literature? And why is it so white and male? You know? And the few times that you might see a black woman's name on there is maybe like 1 out of 50, you know, and it'll usually be like the same book each time. Like it'll be, you know, Toni Morrison's Bluest Eye or The Color Purple, Alice Walker, and that's it. And that's all you'll see. And there's so much more than that, you know, and those are also two very sad stories. So, you know, what about science fiction? What about fantasy? What about, you know, adventure stories? What about girls who are magical, like Harry Potter? Like, you know, why is that not available? Why is that not something that's put out there, you know? I'm really into fantasy, you know, and things like magic and transformation and stuff like that. So I appreciate having a black woman behind that story, because I don't think that's something that's seen a lot. You know, you have someone like Octavia Butler, who's passed on, but who was one of the first black women to write science fiction, and she kind of opened the door, I think, for a lot of people to just realize that it's not just for white people, you know, and it's something that we can all enjoy. And you know, when you look at dystopian stories, whether it's in film or in books, majority of that stuff, black people aren't even seen, talked about, you know? There's this idea that if we don't talk about race, that nobody will notice. And I'm like, that's not how it works. It doesn't work like that.
No, it's not true.
Like, it's, for me, I feel like it's better to talk about it, you know, or when people say, oh, I don't see color. I'm like, come on. To say you don't see color is a lie, you know, unless you literally can't see, then maybe. But I think it's self-defeating to pretend like race doesn't matter or gender doesn't matter, because they play a part in how we're treated. And it's not a bad thing or a good thing to talk about race. It's just something that needs to happen. By this woman named Simone Brown, called Dark Matters, on the surveillance of blackness. And this is about how blackness is watched and perceived within this country and just historically, you know, from the time of enslavement until now, how we look at what blackness is and how it's kind of put in a box, and how, you know, that is something that needs to be dissected and, understood. And her name is Nnedi Okorafor. She's a Nigerian woman. She's not a new writer, but I don't feel like enough people know of her work. She's amazing. She's an incredible writer because she weaves in elements of African culture, African spirituality, mythology into her stories, and then she adds aspects of culture and rituals and the different tribes, and then she puts that in a future context, like 100 years from now. Like she'll put Africans inside a spaceship flying into another planet. One of the reasons I like her is because she'll also give you really strong female characters. Usually in her stories, the main character, the hero of the story, is a black woman. Usually they're very young, a teenager in their 20s, and, they have like powers where they can transform into, take on different shapes of other animals, or they can fly, or they're extremely intelligent, so they can, they have science and math skills, so they can like build things. So I love her for that.